Hi, I'm Brian Satyanathan, co founder and chief digital officer of Iterate.ai. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a web application on top of Interplay. Interplay, as you know, is our low code platform and it makes it really easy to build several types of applications, all the way from web to mobile to AI, IoT, and all sorts of advanced applications that can be built very rapidly with Interplay. So today, I'm just going to quickly show you how to build a very simple web application. Uh, Typically, you can build very complex applications with Interplay, but for demo purposes today, I'm just going to show you a very simple form, because in most business cases, one has to build a form to collect data. So this is Iterate AI's website. I'm sure a lot of websites do have forms to collect information. So in this case, for Iterate AI, we are collecting information of every guest who is visiting our website. So you can see we are collecting work email address, first name, and so on. And when that gets submitted, it goes into the database. I'm going to show you how to do something similar by drag and drop on Interplay. So you go to this component called the Visual Page Builder. So Visual Page Builder provides you with different types of templates that come in handy, where you can drag and drop and start building. So we have templates for e-commerce, for backend admin portals. We have templates for building, location pages, store pages, portals, albums, and all sorts of things. So what I have done here is I have gone in and taken a very basic template. And what I have done is I have basically went into the section that says components, and I have dragged and dropped different forms of input buttons here. So input is a text box that has the ability to receive a piece of text. And I also have put in a little check mark box there from here, right? And I also have put in a button to post the information. So if you go to this form, so in interest of time, I'm not going to design it, but it's very intuitive. You can just drag and drop it like that if you want to, right? Once you drag and drop the button, you can actually see the content of the button, right? So you can go and see here, click on the given button. It's showing you what type of button it is. It's a text type button, right? And if it's a password, you can always change that to a password, so it won't show your input. And you're giving a placeholder text. In this case, we say it's a work email, and we're also giving it a variable name. So I've done the same thing for all these things here. And then for the button, when the button gets posted, I am actually tying the button's event action to an event handler. So we know that this click will go to a login event handler. Then I'm selecting the type of the button. It's a submit button because it's a form, right? And you can of course do other formatting or style elements here, right? In interest of time, I'm not doing very many of those. It's a very plain and simple form. Once I'm done with the form, all I have to do is I have to go and save, and the form gets saved. And I'm going to close this. So then what happens is this component or this block is connected to a handler. So the handler, the page handler or the event handler, has the login event. If this form has many different buttons or different elements, there will be many more events here. And then we go into a little function. So this is a function that takes in the event. So in this case, the event is the login button event is coming in here, and we are reading the elements of the form. PageBuilder.getData will give you all the elements, and we are printing it on screen. So what should happen now is when I click on this form and when I enter information into the form, automatically that information should be printed on the screen, right? So let me go here. Let me clear my screen, my debug window. Let me click on this little button that will automatically launch the form. Now the form is active. So let me enter my email, brian@iterate.ai. I'm not going to use auto form filling here. Just say Brian Iterate, company name Iterate.ai, and here let me also enter the full URL. .ai, right? And please get in touch with me. And when I submit, just like the way we built it in our code, that information is going. So that JSON object is captured. We are capturing, okay, the company website is iterate.ai, the company name is iterate.ai, my last name, my first name, and my work email address, it's all going there. And that's getting captured and being printed out in the screen. Let me also show you a quick example where we can write this to a file. So let me go to a file component, a file input. You can scroll down here, right? And let me write this into a file. But guess what? This is actually a JSON object. So I have to convert the JSON object to a JSON string. So let me go to the JSON object here, connect that as well. While the HTTP output is happening, in parallel, I can click. So now the output that comes through it is going to a JSON object, and that JSON object is going to get written to a file. Let me give a name for the file. I'm going to call it person file or leads file, because this is about capturing all the leads, right? And every new data that comes in, you can append to a file or overwrite the file. So I'm overwriting it in this case, right? Leads file. So now, whenever I go in here, that information should get written into a leads file. Now let me go here, and I've built another flow where I am reading from the leads file. So let me actually change the file name to leads file, and that information is converted into JSON and printed on screen, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this application, fill in my information, and that information gets written into a file. Then I'm going to run this flow, and I'm going to show that information is written into a file, right? Very simple, pretty simple. So let me deploy the application, what I have done here. It's getting deployed. Now it's deployed. Now let me close this window. Let me also clear the debug screen. Right. Let me click on the application here. Now the application is active. Let me enter my information. .ai, Brian, Iterate.ai website, please get in touch with me, right? All that stuff. So now I'm going to submit it. What's going to happen is that information got submitted, and it also got written into a file, right? Just to make sure I gave the right file name, leads, great. Here also I'm reading from leads. So now I'm going to clear the debug window since the file is already written. If I read from the file, that information should come back. Do you see this? This time it's highlighting the flow it's executing. It read from the file and it's printing it on the screen, right? Just like reading it from the file, you can also send this information instead of a file. You can also send this information into Salesforce, right? Because most of your leads are captured in Salesforce. You could easily do this into a Salesforce, send it right into a Salesforce request, right? Or into a Salesforce write like that. You can alternatively, you can also email this as well by using email, right? You can send this to an email and configure your email as well. So there are many ways to use this information, and this is something, a very simple activity a marketing person or one of your IT engineers can do it very rapidly. As you can see, Interplay simplifies the ability to build web as well as mobile interfaces a lot faster.